Hello, Riders and Rangers. Welcome to Power Rangers in Space Reimagined. While this season is already a masterpiece, we're taking it to the next level by diving deeper into its untold backstory. Ready?
Let's rock it!
Alright, let's get real. This season, it's all about the temptation of power. You know, that gnarly little voice in your head that whispers, hey, what if you could be stronger, faster, better? But here's the kicker. That power, it comes with a price. Your humanity. Think of it like the internet. You start out as you, but then you get sucked into the void. Suddenly, you're not a person anymore. You're a profile, a meme, a hashtag. Your individuality, gone. Poof, replaced by whatever the algorithm decides you should be. Now, let's talk about the monsters. These aren't your run-of-the-mill baddies. Nope, they're volunteers. Crazy, right? They signed up for this. They traded their humanity for a shot at ultimate power. One minute, they're regular Joes. The next, they're hulking, mutated freaks with powers that make a god jealous. But here's the thing. They're not the villains. They're the cautionary tale. So, the question is, will you let your powers define you, or will you define yourself by controlling them? Because in this galaxy, the real victory isn't about how strong you are, it's about how human you stay. Soul of Dark Spectre returns. The Rangers' mission this season, simple. Find Zordon and the Blue Centurion. But of course, nothing's ever actually simple in this galaxy. Let's get down to business. The season kicks off with a little evil boss reunion. And guess who's back? Dark Spectre, the big bad, the monarch of all evil, the guy who makes Zed look like a cranky toddler. 10,000 years ago, Zordon locked this dude in the demon realm. And what happened? Chaos. Absolute chaos. Zed, the Machine Empire, Divatox, they all went full Game of Thrones, fighting over who gets to sit on the evil throne. But now, Dark Spectre's back and the hierarchy is restored. But here's the kicker. Dark Spectre's pissed. Like, really pissed. He's been stuck in the demon realm for 10,000 years, and none of his so-called minions bothered to bust him out. Divatox tries to play the loyal subordinate card, but Dark Spectre's not buying it. You didn't free me out of loyalty? He says, you did it because you love chaos. And Divatox chuckled like, Dark Spectre knows me too well. Now here's the twist. Dark Spectre's only got his soul in this dimension. To get his body back, he needs power. Lots of it. And where's he gonna get that? From the Rangers. Once he's back at full power, it's game over for the galaxy. So, who's gonna lead this evil crusade? Enter Astronema, the princess of all evil, Dark Spectre's new heir. Her job? Hunt down the Rangers, and she's not messing around. Meanwhile, during all this villainous drama, we meet Andros. He starts off as a spy, switching colors like he's trying on outfits at a cosmic thrift store. Each color, a different mode. But eventually, he settles on red, because let's be real, red's just hot. But there's an in-universe explanation. So, there you have it. The Rangers are on a mission, Dark Spectre's back with a vengeance, and Astronemer's ready to wreak havoc. Buckle up, folks. This is gonna be one wild rocket ride. Speaking of Andros, this guy's not your typical Ranger. He's not tied to any planet. He's a cosmic nomad, a free agent. His symbol, an envelope. Why? Because he used to be Zordon's messenger. Yeah, the leave now or face Zordon's wrath kind of guy. Most of the time, the invaders would pack up and leave. No bloodshed, no drama. But when they didn't, Andros and his buddy Zane would roll in and wreck them. But here's the thing, Zordon's gone now, and without that central command, Andros' threats don't carry the same weight. He's been fighting alone, exhausted, and Zane's out of commission. So, what's a Lone Ranger to do? Spy, sabotage, and leave breadcrumbs for the good guys. Now let's talk about Andros' telekinesis. This guy's got powers, but he's terrified of them. He's seen what happens when people get drunk on their abilities. They lose themselves, so he suppresses it, hide it, but when he's angry, oof, it slips out. Sometimes he's stopped by other Rangers, especially by TJ, reminding him, we're the good guys, remember? Andros sees his telekinesis as a curse. He's ashamed of it. Like that time he messed with Bulk's drink because the guy wouldn't share his food with Skull. Hilarious? Sure. But for Andros, it's a reminder of the darkness he's trying to keep at bay. Here's the kicker. Andros didn't ask for these powers. As a kid, he, Zane, and his sister Karen were kidnapped and experimented on by Dark Spectre's goons. Dark Spectre's got his own twisted version of the Morphin Grid, the Nefarians. It's what gives this season's monsters their powers. Andros got his telekinesis from that which allowed him to directly access the Morphin Grid's back door, but he's never been tempted by it. When he and Zane escaped, Corona chose to stay behind. Zordon rescued them, but Andros has been mourning his sister ever since. Now, the Space Ranger's powers, they're fueled by Andros' telekinesis. Every time he morphs, it's like he's giving into the very thing he's trying to resist. That's why he's never truly happy when he morphs. And then there's the Battilizer. It's a short-term reward, but the more he uses it, the more he isolates himself from his team. It's a constant battle, not just against the bad guys, but against himself. So, yeah, Andros is a hero, but he's also a guy wrestling with his own demons. And that's what makes him so dang interesting. Into darkness we go. Back with Andros' escape from the villains meetup, Rita and Divatox start their usual petty rivalry. They're both trying to win Dark Spectre's favor by sending their minions after Andros. Spoiler alert, it doesn't work. Then, because they're extra, they start sabotaging each other by firing at their rivals' subordinates. Dark Spectre? Not amused. He slaps them both with a lightning bolt to the head, like being scolded by a very angry dad. Meanwhile, Astronomer's got her own mission, capture all the Power Rangers, but she's obsessed with hunting down Andros. When the former Turbo Rangers join Andros, they're added to her main hit list. Here's the irony, the Space Rangers are rarely on Earth. They're hopping from planet to planet searching for Zordon, but Astronomer keeps threatening Earth to lure them back. Funniest part is, she doesn't know nor remember where Earth is, she just tracks down where the Rangers return to refuel. Now, here's the twist. Earth is technically under the Machine Empire's jurisdiction as a deal struck during Zeo between Zordon and Prince Sprocket. King Mondo? He's secretly helping the Rangers. The Machine Empire secretly kept on corrupting her travel history log, making her unable to remember where exactly Earth is. Why? Because they believe if Dark Spectre's body is returned, so shall numerous demons seep over. Villain overpopulation is a problem not even a fully powered Dark Spectre can handle it. The Machine Empire predicted their demise if this happens, so the Machine Empire quietly allies with the Rangers. Dark Spectre and Astronomer? Complicated. He's intrigued by her, but she thinks he only sees her as a pawn, a shiny ornament to make his other minions jealous. She resents him for it, but she's still desperate to prove her worth. Like Andros, Astronomer got telekinesis, and she's obsessed with it. Unlike Andros, she embraces her powers, believing they'll make her a goddess. She's been honed by Ecliptor, her machine-like father mentor, and her powers rival Rita and Divatox combined. Since Astronomer knows Andros is her brother, and Andros knows she's Corona, their rivalry is that they're both trying to convert each other. Astronomer wants Andros to rule the galaxy with her as evil monarchs, overthrow Dark Spectre. Andros wants to bring Corona back to the light. Throughout the season, Astronomer's been chasing the Rangers, trying to prove her devotion to Dark Spectre for more power. Other than the Machine Empire sabotaging her plans, even others are as well, but for jealousy reasons. But Earth's location? It's a mystery to Astronomer. Rita cast a spell to make everyone treat it like a distant memory. Divatox erased it from the database, and the Machine Empire's jamming signals to keep it hidden. Later, Astronomer gets captured by the Rangers and held on the Astro Megaship. Andros tried to have Astronomer to process what she has done is evil, and over time she felt guilty. Andros saw her with the potential to become good despite the other Rangers' dismay and mistrust. In time, there was a moment where Andros was captured by her goons. The team reluctantly let her lead the team as the Red Ranger a few times, which was an ultimate test. She passes and ends up rescuing Andros until Ecliptor shows up and tempts her back to the dark side. So she is like a pendulum swinging from Andros to Ecliptor and back. So, yeah, this season's a roller coaster of sibling drama, villain politics, and cosmic chaos. Let's talk evil robots. Think of Ecliptor as the evil, brooding, way more complicated version of the Blue Centurion, but his story, it's less heroic android and more tragic sci-fi nightmare. Ecliptor was not always a machine. He started off as a flesh and blood. Ecliptor used to be a big shot, a high-ranking officer in the Triforian army, but then the Machine Empire captured him, executed him. But here's the twist, they saved his consciousness, uploaded it into an AI mainframe. Now this is where it gets really interesting. Ecliptor becomes self-aware, and he's not happy about being a glorified computer program. He suggests they build Minister Mondo to take down Louis Kaboom, which, spoiler alert, leads to massive internal conflict. By the end of the war in Triforia, the Machine Empire led by King Mondo loses. Ecliptor's tactics won the day, but here's the kicker. He's stuck in cyberspace. Nobody, no humanity, just emptiness. This prolonged exposure of nihilism made him not concerned about anyone other than himself. So, What does he do? He escapes the mainframe and transfers himself into a cog body. It's not exactly top of the line, but Ecliptor's skills, unmatched. He becomes a bodyguard, a consultant, a warrior, a bounty hunter, you name it. Then, Dark Spectre comes knocking. He's got a job for Ecliptor, raise a young astronomer. And here's the twist. Ecliptor projects his lost humanity onto her. He wants her to live as the human he can't be anymore. Later, when word gets out that Billy Cranston of Aquitar built the strongest robot ever, Ecliptor and Astronomer team up to steal it. Ecliptor uploads his consciousness into it, finally getting the body he's always wanted. But here's the messed up part. Astronomer's upbringing. She's not physically punished for her failures. Ecliptor is. It's emotional torture, and it works because Astronomer cares for him like a father. Imagine every time you fail a test, somehow your favorite teacher gets publicly humiliated. Now here's the irony. Andros hates Ecliptor, blaming him for Astronomer's corruption and loss of humanity. But the real irony, Ecliptor's trying to regain his humanity by being Astronomer's father, while she's hell-bent on becoming less human every day. And here's the kicker. Dark Spectre's machine implants on Astronomer, they only work because she's not pure of heart. If they were attached to any of the Rangers who actually have some restraint against evil, the implants would have been useless. So, yeah, Ecliptor's a tragic figure, Astronomer's a mess, and the whole thing's a cosmic soap opera. Back in Season 1, our monsters of the day were Rita's evil putties. Zed's monsters were his criminal underlings of Eltar. In Season 3, they were Rito's supernatural shape-shifting ghouls called Hakushi. In Zeo, it was the Machine Empire's machine beasts. While Turbo, they were Demon Realm unleashed by Divatox. For this season, they are called the Nefarians. Oh, they're not your average garden variety monsters of the day. These guys are from KO35. Yeah, Andros and Astronomer's stomping grounds. And their story is equal parts tragic, terrifying, and what the actual heck is wrong with you people? Here's the deal. The Nefarians are Dark Spectre's little minions, but they volunteered for this. That's right. They were like, hey, take my humanity, turn me into a monster, I'll do all your evil deeds, and let's see how much powerful I can be. It's like signing up for gym membership, but instead of getting ripped, you get mutated into a nightmare. It's horrifying, but also kind of fascinating in a train wreck you can't look away from kind of way. But here's the thing, they're not just mindless beasts. Oh no, they're a cautionary tale for Andros. They're this dark mirror showing what happens when you let your intrusive thoughts win, when you stop trusting your team. It's like, hey Andros, don't go down this path, or you'll end up like these guys, messed up, mutated, and probably regretting every life choice you ever made. Now, here's where it gets really messed up. Most of these Nefarians, they're all about the power. They're like, if I get stronger, I'll be free. I'll be in control. I'll be legendary. It's this whole delusion of grandeur thing. Fame, glory, ambition, self-preservation, you name it. They're basically the cosmic equivalent of that guy who spends too much time on the internet being overly obsessed with extreme views of a certain subject, thinking being radicalized makes them more than just a keyboard warrior. Now, let's talk about Astronomer, because she's a whole other level of fascinating. Unlike the Nefarians, who are all about that monstrous glow-up, Astronomer loves power, but also loves being to look human, lowering her opponent's guards. And also thanks to her robo-space dad, Ecliptor, she's got a soft spot for the little things, like, you know, not turning into a grotesque monster. So, what does she do? She stores her excess energy like a cosmic power bank. It's like she's on a perpetual diet, but instead of carbs, she's cutting back on monster juice. And here's the twist. She's not just hoarding all that power for herself. Nope, she's handing it out to KO35 volunteers, parallel to the Space Power Rangers' morphing energies originate from Andros. But here's the catch. She can only empower one at a time. It's like a twisted version of kids playing Grand Theft Auto. They want to spread as much chaos and destruction as possible because they just want to watch the world burn. Enter Darkonda, the poster child for successful monster transformations. This guy used to be a KO35 resident, but thanks to Dark Spectre's power-up, he's now a full-blown monster. Think of him as the valedictorian of Astronomer's senior in Dark Spectre's twisted little high school. Meanwhile, the rest of the monsters are more like the kids who barely pass gym class but are edgelords. Oh, and if you're wondering why there are so many posters and ads around KO35 offering power-up opportunities, it's because everyone wants a piece of the action. Who wouldn't want to be stronger, faster, and more powerful? It's like the galactic version of a gym membership, but with way higher stakes. So, There you have it, the Nefarians, Astronomer, and the whole messed up world of KO35. It's a story of power, ambition, and the lengths people will go to for a little extra strength. It's tragic, it's terrifying, and it's so freaking cool. Now go forth and geek out, because this is the kind of chaos we live for. Cue epic space battle music. Old Turbo Rangers, new Space Rangers. Previously, our Turbo Rangers just lost their Zords, RIP, big mechanical friends, and now they're hitching a ride on a NASADA shuttle to Andros' Megaship. It's like The Bachelor, but instead of roses, they get spacesuits and existential crises. First up, let's talk about the Space Ranger suits, because holy heck, these things are next level. Andros, our brooding space loner, explained all Space Ranger suits are set as blue in default. When the Turbo team gets their morphers, they morph into Blue Rangers too, and take down the baddies of the day. But here's the kicker. Andros reveals that the colors are actually modes. Each Ranger realized they have a mode they prefer. Red, radiation suit setting, absorbs radiation to power up the suit, but it's dangerous for Earth-based humans. Andros' forehead computer symbol, that's a Geiger counter. It's like he's an energy capacitor. Blue, default spacesuit setting, provides the most protection, making TJ the team's tank. Think of him as the big friendly giant. Black, connects to satellite networks, giving Carlos a ton of intel. He's basically the team's Google Maps. Yellow, enhanced visual scanning. Ashley becomes the team's eyes, spotting danger from a mile away. She's like a walking pair of binoculars, but with more sass. Pink, detects wave signals and audio scanning. Cassie's the ears of the team, eavesdropping on enemies like a cosmic spy. Silver, medical healing. The microchip on the helmet, that's nanotechnology for healing. This explains why Zane, the Silver Ranger, wasn't worried about getting struck by lightning. Dude's basically wearing an auto-healing spacesuit. But it's not as glamorous as Wolverine's healing factor. Just imagine Zane is walking around in a medical cast, but also fighting. But wait, there's more. TJ later downloads a hologram mode into his suit, which he uses to project Earth environments when the team feels homesick. It's like a cosmic therapy session, reminding them why they fight, for their homes. These power-ups aren't just about strength, they're about humanity. And that's what makes them stronger. And also they can use it as an excuse to use Sentai footage. Answers why do these alien locations look like 20th century Earth City? Now, let's talk about Andros' power-up. This guy's been through it. After losing his sister, Zane, and then Zordon, he's all about making himself stronger and doesn't want new partners. Even when the Turbo team joins him, he's still a bit of a loner. He's constantly tempted by power, like join your evil sister or save your team and civilians, but he always chooses his friends. After absorbing enough cosmic radiation, he finally gets the red space Battilizer. But here's the catch, the Battilizer makes him too powerful. He loses focus, forgets teamwork, charges into battle without thinking, and almost injures his teammates and civilians. It's like when you give a kid too much sugar, chaos ensues. That's why Andros was using it unless his team ensures every bystander is safe. Throughout the season, the team travels across the galaxy to find Zordon and Blue Centurion. The Morphin grid is dying, evil is growing, and it feels like the universe is unbalanced and cold. It's like the Empire Strikes Back, but with more spandex. Now, let's get into the team dynamics. TJ feels like he failed the team at the end of Turbo. He's happy to step down as leader. His enthusiasm for training others scares the Rangers away. He needs to regain confidence, but hey, Rome wasn't built in a day. Cassie tries to console TJ, but also goes back to her rebellious roots. She hijacks space radio to upload her songs, inspiring hope in a galaxy consumed by evil. She's like a cosmic Taylor Swift, but with more karate. Carlos still a hothead who rushes into things. He learns patience from Adam in an episode, realizing that speed isn't always the answer. It's like Fast and Furious, but with more life lessons. Ashley connects with the Machine Empire, who are starting to despise Dark Spectre for treating them as lesser beings. Later, the Machine Empire also gave them the Astro Tector armor. These are vests made from the remains of the Royal Machine family. Mondo anticipated Dark Spectre would destroy them. So, he encoded a program which transforms them into temporary power-ups for Space Rangers if they ever get destroyed. They weren't used until the season finale. It's like Terminator, except the Terminator is turning against Skynet on its own. And then there's Zordon. After being freed from the time loop, his body is weak from absorbing 10,000 years of radiation. He's stuck in an energy tube, recovering in a catatonic state on Eltar. Unfortunately, being immobilized makes him an easy target, and the Evil Alliance captures him. They're trying to use him to access the Morphin Grid, because of course they are. Zane, the first Silver 6th Ranger. Technically, he has been around since the first episode of this season and somehow manages to be both the heart and the comic relief of the series. Oh, and he's also a walking, talking sci-fi enigma. First off, meet Deca, the holographic AI mainframe on the Astro Megaship. Deca is basically the ship's nurse, navigator, and all-around multitasker. But here's the twist. Deca looks exactly like Zane. Why? Because Andros missed his bestie so much, he programmed Deca to look like him. It's like when you set your GPS voice to Morgan Freeman, but way more emotional. Andros is that guy who can't let go, and honestly, who can blame him? Zane's a legend. Now let's dive into Zane's backstory, because it's equal parts tragic badass, and what the actual heck is wrong with these villains? Before the Turbo Rangers showed up, Zane got wrecked by some baddies. Enter some mysterious nurses who offered to help. Spoiler alert, it was a trap. They powered Zane up, but not in a good way. They turned him into an evil Psycho Green Ranger. Yeah, you heard that right. Zane, the guy who's basically the human embodiment of sunshine, got turned into a monster. But here's the thing, his easygoing, good-hearted nature kept his humanity intact. Even after fighting Andros, he eventually realized, wait, I'm a monster? That's not cool. After a brutal escape from the monster conversion facility, because of course that's a thing, Zane ends up frozen in a cryogenic chamber to detox the Nefarian energies. If he's taken out of the chamber too soon, his demonic form becomes permanent, and he loses all his humanity. It's like The Fly, but with spandex. This also explains why Zane came up with the Psycho Silver idea. When Zane becomes part of the team again, he becomes Andros' voice of reason. Andros is all brooding and serious, and Zane's like, hey buddy, chill out, let's crack a joke and save the galaxy. He's the comic relief goofball of the series, and we love him for it. But don't let the humor fool you, this guy's got layers. Here's another fun fact. Zane was experimented on by the Alliance of Evil, and he gained minor telekinesis because he was never tempted by power, unlike Andros. Furthermore, Zane wasn't experimented as much as Andros and Astronema. Later, there's been a power leakage of Zane's Silver Ranger form. Why? Because Zane stayed in his Ranger form for too long. So, what's the solution? He needs to recharge his morpher with a Thunder Strike. He has to hold his morpher, so his DNA is encoded back into it. That's the best he can do without Zordon's energy recharge. Currently, the morpher's at reset because it's been on too long and it needs an update. It's like when your computer keeps on crashing because the last time you updated it was a few years ago, but way more dramatic. Ashley overheard Zane speaking to Alpha and mistakened it as his life is ending soon. Zane thought it was funny and took advantage of it. The rest of the team forgives him after he came clean, but he needs to hand scrub the ship for a month. Oh, and there are times when Zane's missing from the main team. Why? Because he's traveling across the galaxy to collect intelligence on captured Rangers. He's basically the team's secret agent, gathering intel and cracking jokes while he's at it. So, there you have it. Zane, the guy who's been through hell and back, but still manages to be the heart and soul of the team. He's a monster, a hero, a comedian, and a genius, all rolled into one. Now go forth and geek out, because this is the kind of chaos we live for. The Space Rangers, a study in contrasts and chaos. First up, we've got Andros, the brooding Space Ranger, who's basically the Jason Todd Red Hood of the team, except his red helmet expanded all throughout his outfit. He's got a I've seen too much vibe and a reluctant leadership role. Enter TJ, the tactician with a heart of gold and the patience of a saint. TJ's like, hey Andros, buddy, you've got the experience, but you're leading like someone just handed you a live grenade. Let me help you not blow up the team. Then there's Carlos, the team's resident hothead. He's all, let's charge in and save the civilians, while Andros is like, no, let's be smart and track them to the monster's lair. Cue the inevitable clash of egos. Thank goodness for TJ, who's basically the team's emotional referee, playing the role of the sensible big brother who keeps everyone from ripping each other's heads off. Meanwhile, Ashley's over here crushing on Andros harder than a meteor hitting Angel Grove. She's trying to thaw his icy exterior, but it's like trying to defrost an iceberg with a hairdryer. Maybe she will be successful and finally see the softer version of Andros someday. Cassie, on the other hand, is the wild card. She's breaking rules, befriending a bee monster. Well, that one is an exception because the bee monster regrets taking in so much power and misses his humanity, and generally driving Ashley up the wall. But here's the twist. Cassie's outside-the-box thinking actually helps Ashley see the bigger picture. It's like a buddy cop movie of a ham and cheese sandwich. Character growth, because even Space Rangers need therapy. Let's talk about growth, baby. Andros learns that being human doesn't mean shutting off your emotions or giving into every impulse. It's about balance. Think of it as finding the perfect mix of Yoda and Han Solo. Cassie learns to follow the rules sometimes while still bringing her creative flair to the team. Ashley stops being a rule-following robot and starts thinking for herself. And Carlos? He learns to chill out and think before leaping into battle like a space-themed Kool-Aid man. As for TJ, he's the steady rock of the team. He's mostly unchanged, but he's leveling up his tactical skills like a gamer grinding for XP. He even figures out how to take down Psycho Blue Ranger, which is basically the equivalent of beating Dark Souls on hard mode. And let's not forget Zane, who's learning there's a time to be serious and a time to remind Andros to smile. Someone's got to bring the fun to this team, right? Bulk and Skull, the unsung heroes. Now, let's talk about the real MVPs, Professor Phenomenus, Bulk, and Skull. These three go from bumbling comic relief to legit community leaders. They're out here catching monsters, sort of, setting up warning signs and trying to get funding for trauma centers. Sure, their plans often fail spectacularly, like that time they thought they invented monster repellent, but it was just a lucky coincidence. But hey, they're trying. And somehow their sheer enthusiasm rallies the community. It's like watching the Three Stooges accidentally become heroes. You can't help but root for them. Tone of the series is this: a ragtag team of Power Rangers not just saving the world, but galaxy hopping across the cosmos on a quest to find their mentors. Each planet, a new battleground. Each battle, a fresh disaster waiting to happen. And hot on their heels, Astronema, the galaxy's most stylish and relentless bounty hunter, who's got a serious bone to pick with these spandex-clad heroes. Now, here's the kicker. The Astro Megaship isn't just a ship, it's a wormhole-generating interdimensional road trip machine. The Rangers zip back to Earth to recharge because, let's face it, Earth's interdimensional barriers are about as stable as a house of cards in a hurricane. All that chaos from the cracking between the Demon Realm and Earth Realm, it leaks radiation energy, which just so happens to be the Astro Megaship's favorite snack. But here's the catch. Every time they transform into the Astro Megazord, it's like draining a cosmic battery. On any other planet, they'd be stuck twiddling their thumbs for months waiting for a recharge. Earth, it's their pit stop, their lifeline, their cosmic gas station, and those wormholes they leave behind. Think of them as breadcrumbs in the galaxy's most dangerous trail. So that's actually how we can use Sentai footage on Earth. Those Earth battles are because Astronomer's lackeys got through the wormholes and into Earth while tracking down the heroes. So yeah, it's a pilgrimage, a chase, and a high-stakes road trip, all wrapped up in one gloriously chaotic space opera. So, let's talk about this season's Zords. These aren't your run-of-the-mill stompy robots. No, these bad boys were designed by Zordon, you know, the floating head of wisdom himself, and then, because why not, the Machine Empire decided to give them a little upgrade. Think of it like Zordon built a Prius, and the Machine Empire turned it into a tricked-out spacefaring monster truck. Here's the deal. These Zords were originally built for space travel. That explains there are dorm rooms inside the Astro Megaship. But space? It's a cosmic minefield. Comet showers? Check. Cosmic radiation? You bet. Supernovas? Solar flares? All of the above. So these Zords spend most of their time in hibernation mode, like a bunch of high-tech bears waiting for winter to end. And let's be real, the main Zord Astro Megaship, it's the MVP, but it's also the most fragile. It's nimble, it's sleek, but it's one cosmic hiccup away from being scrap metal. That's why there's a whole fleet of backup Zords scattered across the galaxy. Think of it like a cosmic treasure hunt, except the treasure is a giant robot that can punch a spaceship in the face. Luckily, it is also the easiest ship to pilot. It took the Rangers to get used to it, so for the later Zords, entry can be piloted by the Rangers. Without that practice, they would have crashed all the auxiliary Zords. Sadly, Zordon's the only one who knows where these backups are stashed. But, and of course there's a but, Zordon's gone MIA, off the grid, so now the Rangers have to play intergalactic detective, piecing together cryptic clues to find these Zords before Astronomer turns them into evil space robots. After the team decoded Zordon's puzzles, it was also unfortunately hijacked by Astronomer. Now it's a race between the two. Will Astronomer set up traps in the Zord's whereabouts? It's a scavenger hunt, a survival mission, and a cosmic mystery, all wrapped up in one gloriously messy space adventure. The Space Rangers found coordinates set to never-seen-before Rangers called Power Rangers Vanguard. Those familiar with Sentai will know these are the suits from Chikyu Sentai 5-Men. These are the keepers of the Zords. They are galactic librarians of giant robots. With Zordon gone, Ranger teams have to go to them in order to have Zordon's Zords released. There was a crossover where Astronema and some pirates wanted the Zords for themselves, the Space Rangers, and they teamed up to fend off Astronema and her shortly lived alliance with the pirates. As a side project, the Vanguard Rangers construct exact replicas of previous Dino Megazord and Thunder Megazord, but without Zordon's energies, they lie dormant. Unlike the sentient Zords, these are just robot duplicates without souls. Speaking of never-before-seen Rangers, there was another team that made their debut. During a battle, Andros gets hit with nanotech. It's designed to rewrite his DNA and kill him. The Rangers scramble to find someone who can hack this tech, basically the guy who created the Silver Ranger setting. This guy is part of another team of Rangers from another planet. They are called Power Rangers Aerial Ace. Fans familiar with this suit will know they are from Chojin Sentai Jetman. There was this crossover between the Space Rangers and this pre-Zyuranger Ranger team. But to find a way to take care of the nanites, the Rangers will need to capture the monster that shot Andros. Then they can reverse engineer and turn the nanites into organic repair bots. But here's the catch. The nanotech is coded to Andros' DNA, so it's useless for anyone else. Long story short, Andros survives, and now his tears contain nanotech self-repair. Yes, you read that right. Andros now has a healing factor, but will his newfound gift actually be a curse? Turns him just to be a fly on the wall while he watches his comrades and the world burn? Or would he be able to use it to save the world with his friends? Throughout the season, each team member connects with a veteran ranger. Representing Season 2, Adam visits Carlos and gives him a pep talk after he accidentally injures a teammate and he wants to quit being a ranger. Events are similar to the actual episode, except in my reimagined series, Adam is the Red Thunder Ranger. True Blue to the rescue closely mirrors the original episode. The Nefarians have stolen a replica of the Storm Blaster and Lightning Cruiser created by the Vanguard Rangers. The Space Rangers must retrieve it, but it's a trap and they get captured. Fortunately, Storm Blaster escapes and finds Justin. He discovers that the Turbo Morpher prototype built by Billy in the dashboard of the Zord. It has been found by the Vanguard Rangers, and they placed it inside Storm Blaster, temporarily powering it up as a battery. Justin's decision to place the prototype on his dashboard during the Turbo season pays off, allowing him to morph into the Turbo Blue Ranger. After their victory and reunion, TJ still feels guilty about the defeat in Turbo, but Justin reassures him that setbacks happen. If TJ does his best but still fails, he should learn from his mistakes. During a rescue mission of Kimberly, Ashley and Cassie join Aquitar White Ranger Delphine. They met this veteran who has amnesia. In Season 3, Kimberly's mind was unfiltered and accessed directly into the Morphin Grid. It would be lethal in the long run. Zordon has to disconnect it by wiping her memories. Despite no longer being a ranger, she gives Ashley some wisdom on dealing with crushes along with Delphine. Delphine, Cassie, and Ashley, learning about the Nefari net, concocted a plan. They offer Astronema forces to absorb her residual morphin energies, which somehow permanently disconnected her mind from the morphin grid, restoring her memories. But at the same time, her energy was redundant and canceled out the Nefari net, making Kimberly being a wrench in their plan to restore Dark Spectre. Gold and Silver Alloy. Jason Lee Scott meets Zane in KO 35 while he is gathering intel for the good guys. The two were trying to figure out how to stop the production of more Nefarians. They ended up destroying the Nefarian conversion main headquarters. Zane learned how to be a good leader from Jason. Tommy, as the representative of Season 1, meets Andros when Astronema was trying to capture him. The two shares about past sins and fear of falling to the dark side. The two are temporarily able to convince Astronema to return to the good side. Meet the Psycho Rangers, the ultimate evil Power Ranger squad here to crush, destroy, and generally ruin the Rangers' day. How they're created, how they fight, and how they're defeated, all the same, but oh, their backstory, that's where things get juicy. These guys, they're Astronomer's twisted little project. Originally, they were Nefarian candidates from KO 35, traitors who chose to work for Dark Spectre after being fed a steady diet of power is everything propaganda, and well, they ate it up. Sold their souls, gave up their humanity, all for a stronger connection to the dark net. They've got human forms, but let's be real, they hate them. Monster mode, that's their vibe. During the Evil Alliance's civil war, they fought for Dark Spectre's faction, and their obsession with power led them to use Evil Alliance magic to mutate themselves into full-on demonic forms. They were good at it too, winning battles, wiping out enemies, basically becoming the galaxy's most terrifying mercenaries. After being selected as the heir of Dark Spectre, Astronomer, ever the opportunist given all resources, hooked them up with Dark Spectre's power, and boom, Psycho Rangers. Now here's the kicker. They despise Andros. To them, he's a coward who ran away from power, and that's just pathetic. They don't want to convert him. They want to obliterate him and the rest of the Rangers. And while Astronomer's orders are to capture the Rangers, the Psycho Rangers, they're playing their own game. Astronomer, though, she's got her own agenda. She's using the Psycho Rangers to fight the Rangers, sure, but she's also draining Dark Spectre's soul in the process. Why? Because she's got no faith in Dark Spectre stepping down, and she's ready to take his throne. So, yeah. The Psycho Rangers? They're not just villains. They're a chaotic, power-hungry, backstabbing mess. Can't even work together properly. And honestly, that's what makes them so fun. Astronomer is counting on them to slowly drain Dark Spectre's soul. No matter how much time it takes to defeat the Rangers, as long as Dark Spectre's powers are diminishing, that's what matters the most. Series finale. Dark Spectre finally got his hands on most of the Rangers, except the current space team, because of course, they're planet hopping. Meanwhile, the Machine Empire is throwing a fit because they think Earth is their turf, and Dark Spectre just bulldozed their royal family. King Mondo? Gone. Queen Machina? Poof. Prince Sprocket? Scrap metal. Replaced by General Venjix, who's basically the Machine Empire's version of a middle manager trying to clean up a corporate disaster. Venjix is given a new task to rebuild the Machine Empire at all cost, even turning on the truce on protecting Earth along with the Rangers. To secure the Empire, they must follow Dark Spectre's rule. Dark Spectre, now fully powered up, decides to hack the Rangers' space travel wormhole and head straight for Earth. Why? Because he's got this grand plan to turn Earth into a giant portal to get his body back permanently. Classic villain movie. He's been gathering his forces for a full-on invasion across the universe. Earth, it's about to be his rebirth location. Why did it take so long? Because the Machine Empire was hiding Earth from everyone. With the Machine Empire getting punished, Divatox and Rita quickly restored Earth back to everyone's memories, fearing their own punishment. With Earth no longer hidden, Astronomer finally discovers Earth's location. Cue the Evil Alliance launching a surprise attack across the galaxy. At the end of the season, most of the things are pretty much the same. Darkonda betrays Dark Spectre while the two destroy each other, and Astronomer becomes the Queen of Evil, while the rest of the team acts as a diversion to fight off the invasive forces of Astronomer. The Rangers morph, and humanity, led by Bulk and Skull of all people, rises up to fight the alien invasion. Using this, the Space Rangers as a diversion, Andros sneaked onto Astronomer's ship to rescue Zordon. Andros finds Zordon, who demands Andros to release his powers from the energy tube. This will kill Zordon, but would free the captured Rangers since his energy of good acts as a temporary boost for all of them to morph. Andros was reluctant to do so. In Zordon's cell, Astronomer confronts Andros, but he refuses to fight her. Dark Spectre's programming forces her to aim her weapon at Andros, but she tries fighting back against her programming because she can't unalive her own brother. She only wants to convert him to her side since she still loves him. Without warning, her program kicks in and she blasts Andros, but it ricochets off Andros' weapon and hits her instead. Ecliptor, thinking his adoptive daughter is dead, goes berserk and attacks Andros. Zordon demands Andros to break his energy tube, and it releases a Z-Wave. That initial shockwave turns Ecliptor to dust. Back on the ground battle, the Space Rangers were finally at their knees, and humanity was getting rounded up despite Bulk and Skull not giving up. We see past Ranger teams show up. With Zordon's excess energy, it allows them all to morph. Kick in all the past teams morph together. Enter Dino Mighty Morphin, Thunder Spirit Mighty Morphin, Aquitar Ninjas, Zeo Yellow and Gold, Blue Centurion, Phantom Ranger, Blue Turbo, Vanguard, and Aerial Ace, all down to aiding the current team of Space Rangers. They do their awesome roll call and poses. It's a full-blown Ranger reunion, and it's glorious. However, Dark Spectre's body entered into the Earth's dimension. Despite Dark Spectre's soul is gone, the body is an unhinged, mindless monster, wrecking destruction. The Rangers defeated all of Dark Spectre's minions, using the final blow against Dark Spectre's body. The Aquitar Rangers tried to destroy it, but it reabsorbed their ninja powers and increased into giant size. To tackle this giant abomination, with Zordon's energies, all Rangers call upon the Zord replicas built by the Vanguard Rangers, so we have a huge giant monster versus Zord battle. We finally see Dino Megazord and Thunder Megazord fighting side by side. When the battle was hopeless, Dark Spectre was at his peak full of evil power. The Rangers redirected the Z-Wave across the galaxy. Zordon never planned to boost the Rangers' powers for the entire battle. It was to buy enough time for Dark Spectre's body to return and destroy it. which was the Z-Wave's true purpose. Releasing the Z-Wave from their morphers, Zords, and suits, it spread across the universe like wildfire, either transforming villains to good like Divatox, Zed, and Rita, or turning them into dust, like Ecliptor. General Venjix jumped into a wormhole to escape the Z-Wave just in time. After the battle, everyone is happy except for Ashley, who suspects that Andros didn't make it. Just then, the Dark Fortress lands nearby, and Andros emerges with a lifeless Astronomer in his arms. He lays her down and starts to cry. His tears landed on Astronomer. It reverts her back into Corona. So, the tears are explained not because it's magical, but because it contains nanotech. It has Andros' DNA to heal. That's also why it was able to heal Corona, since they share 99.99% of the same DNA. Sometime later, the former Turbo Rangers help the inhabitants of KO-35 rebuild their world and are about to board the Megaship, leaving for Earth. However, Andros, Zane, and Corona plan to stay on KO-35 after Ashley tries unsuccessfully to persuade Andros to come with them. The Turbo Rangers sadly board the Megaship, with Ashley the most devastated that she has lost Andros. When suddenly he appears with Zane and Corona, he tells Dekka to set a course for Earth. They go home, and with that, an era comes to an end. But wait, there's a twist. What happened to all the wormholes left by the Astro Megaship throughout the season? The NASADA scientist discovers these wormholes molecular transmutated from the Z-Wave. The destinations are now pointing to a new planet that is very similar to Earth, set far, far away, deep in space, to a distant unknown galaxy that did not show up in any of their astronomy records. NASADA codenamed this galaxy Lights of Orion Sector Tau, the Lost Galaxy for short. Where is this lost galaxy? That's the cliffhanger for next time. So, there you have it, Power Rangers in space. End of the Zordon Era, epic, emotional, and a little bit bonkers. Honestly, I'm not sure how to improve a perfect season. What do you think? Let me know down below, and don't forget to rate this video.